أبنائي وبناتي طلاب وطالبات الفرقة الثانية الشعبة الإنجليزية. In this lecture we will talk about current liabilities. Describe the nature, valuation and reporting of current liabilities. The FASB defined liabilities as probable future sacrifices of economic benefits arising from present obligations of a particular entity to transfer assets or provide services to other entities in the future as a result of a past transactions or events. A liability has three essential characteristics. The first one, it is a present obligation that entails settlement by a probable future transfer or use of cash, goods or service. يبقى هي present obligations. The second, it is an unavoidable obligation. The third, the transaction or other event creating the obligation has already occurred. Because liabilities involve future disbursements of assets or service, one of their most important features is the date of which they are payable. Current liabilities are obligations whose liquidation is reasonably expected to require use of existing resources probably classified as current assets, or the creation of another current liabilities. The current assets are cash or other assets that companies reasonably expected to convert into cash, sell, or consume in operations within a single operating cycle or within year. An operating cycle, period of time elapsing between the acquisition of goods and service and the final cash realization resulting from sales and the subsequent collections. Typical current liabilities: accounts payable, notes payable, dividends payable, customer advances and deposits, unearned revenues, sales taxes payable, income tax payable, employee-related liabilities, current maturities of long-term debt. The first current liabilities, accounts payable or trade accounts payable. Balances owed to other for goods, supplies or services purchased on open account. Time lag between the receipt of services or acquisition of title to assets and the payment for them. Terms of the sales, example, 2% discount if the payment is made within 10 days and the total period is 30 days. Usually state period of extended credit, commonly 30 to 60 days. Valuation is based on invoice amount. The purchase discounts recorded on either net or gross basis. واحنا خدنا البرتشيز ديسكاونت واحنا بنتكلم عن الانفنتوري وازاي بيتم تسجيله بالنت اماونت او بالجروس اماونت. تاني نوع من الكرنت liabilities اللي هي النوتس payable. Written promises to pay a certain sum of money on a specified future date arise from purchases, financing, or other transactions. classified as short term or long term, may be interest bearing or zero interest bearing. نفس الأنواع اللي أخدناها في النوتس receivable. الانترست bearing note issued هنا عندي مثال الناتشورال بانك agrees to lend 100,000 on March 1, 2022 to landscape company. If landscape sign 100,000 6% 4 months note, landscape record the cash received on March 1 as follows. Debit cash notes payable 100,000 100,000 وده البرنسبل بسجل بالبرنسبل. Recording interest. If landscape prepare financial statements semi-annually, it makes the following adjusting entry to recognize interest expense and interest payable at June 30. The interest calculation 100,000 times 6% times 4 months. Debit interest expense, credit interest payable. Payment at maturity. At maturity July 1, landscape records payment of the note and accrued interest as follows. Debit notes payable بالprincipal اللي هو 100,000. Debit interest payable اللي هي 2,000. Credit cash 102,000. Zero interest bearing note issued. On March 1, landscape issues a 102,000 4 months zero interest bearing note to National Bank. The present value of the note is 100,000. Landscape records these transactions as follows. هنا البرنسبل 102,000 والpresent value 100,000. Debit cash 100,000 ده المبلغ اللي تم استلامه فعلا. Discount on notes payable 2,000. Credit notes payable 102,000. Balance sheet presentation في جزء current liabilities. النوتس payable 102,000 less discount on notes payable 2,000. present value 100,000. Discount on notes payable contra account to notes payable represents the cost of a borrowing debited to interest expense over the life of the note. The third kind of current liabilities, dividends payable. Amount owed by a corporation to its stockholders as a result of its board of director authorizations. At the end of declaration, the corporation assumes a liability that places the stockholders in the position of creditors in the amount of dividends declared, generally paid within 3 months. Undeclared dividends on cumulative preferred stock not recognized as a liability. Dividends payable in the form of additional shares of stock are reported in stockholders' equity. The third kind of current liabilities, customer advances and deposits. Returnable cash deposits received from customers and employees to guarantee performance of a contract or service or guarantees to cover payments of expected future obligations. The classification of these items as a current or non-current liabilities depends on the time between the date of the deposit and the termination of the relationship that required the deposit. The 5 kinds current liabilities: unearned revenues. Payment received before delivering goods or rendering service, such as an airline company sells tickets for future flights, and software companies issue coupons that allow customers to upgrade to the next version of their software. Magazine publisher receives payment when a customer subscribes to the magazine. How do these companies account for unearned revenue? Example about a lasted university sell 10,000 season football tickets at $50 each for its 5-game home schedule. Lasted University recorded the sales of season tickets as follows: debit cash 500,000 اللي هي 10,000 tickets times $50 equal 500,000. Debit cash credit unearned sales revenue. Unearned sales revenue اللي هي تبقى current liability. As each game is completed, a lasted university makes the following entry: unearned sales revenue 100,000, sales revenue 10,000. هنا ال unearned sales revenue اتحولت ل sales revenue مع أول مباراة تم أو انتهاء من لعبها. هنا اتحول ال unearned إلى sales revenue. ال 100,000 اللي هي ال 500,000 إجمالي المباريات divided 5 games equal 100,000 per game. The account unearned sales revenue represents unearned revenue and reports it as a current liability in the balance sheet. The six types of current liabilities is sales taxes payable. Retailers must collect sales taxes from customers on sales and on certain services, and they remit to the proper governmental authority. Example about prepare the entry to record sales taxes assuming there was a sale 3,000 when 4% sales tax is in effect. Debit cash 3,120. هنا أنا بستلم رقم المبيعات بالإضافة إلى الضريبة 4%. السيلز ريفينيو 3,000. السيلز تاكس بيبل 120 اللي هي بتمثل 4%. Many companies do not segregate the sales tax and the amount of the sale at the time of sale. Instead, the company credits both amounts in total in the sales revenue account. Assume the sales revenue account's balances 150,000. Included sales tax 4%. Prepare the entry to record the amount due to taxing unit. Debit cash 150,000. Sales revenue 150,000. هنا ال 150,000 included the sales tax 4%. Tax calculation 150,000 times 4 divided 104 569. Sales revenue هنقصهم من sales revenue credit sales tax payable. the 7 types of current liabilities. Income taxes payable. Businesses must prepare an income tax return and compute the income tax payable. Tax payable are a current liability. Corporations must make periodic tax payments. Differences between taxable income under the tax law and accounting income under generally accepted accounting principles sometimes occur. The 8 types of current liabilities. Employee-related liabilities. Payroll deductions, compensated absence, bonus. Payroll deductions, taxes, insurance premiums, employee saving, and union dues. A company has not remitted the amount deducted to the proper authority at the end of the accounting period. It should recognize them as a current liability. Compensated absence are paid absence from employment, such as vacation, illness, and holidays. Companies should accrue a liability for the cost of compensation for future absence. Bonuses agreement. Payments to certain or all employees in addition to their regular salaries and wages. Bonuses paid are an operating expenses. Unpaid bonuses should be reported as a current liabilities. To illustrate the entries for an employee bonus, assume that a company shows income for the year 2020 100,000. It will pay out bonus 10,700 in January 2021. Make an adjusted entry dated December 31, 2022 to record the bonuses as follows. Salaries and wages expenses, salaries and wages payable. In 2021 is recorded the payment of bonus as follows. Salaries and wages payable, debit salaries and wages payable, credit cash. يبقى هنا قبل ما يتم دفعها اتسجلت انها salaries and wages payable مستحقة. لما تم الدفع لغاية salaries and wages payable هي كريدت خليتها ديبت واتدفعت كاش. The liability salaries and wages payable is usually payable within a short period of time. Companies should include it as a current liability in the balance sheet. The other kinds of current liabilities, the current maturities of long-term debt. Portion of bonds, mortgage notes, and other long-term independents that mature within the next fiscal year. Exclude debts maturing currently if they are to be retired by assets accumulated that have not been owned as a current assets, refinanced or retired from the proceeds of a new debit issued or converted into capital stock. Presentation of current liabilities. ازاي بيتم عرض current liabilities في البالانس شيت. Usually reported at their full maturity value. Full maturity value. احنا تعودنا في البالانس شيت بسجل بالنت realizable value، ولكن بالنسبة للcurrent liabilities هسجل بالfull maturity value. The differences between present value and the maturity value is considered immaterial. Companies may list the accounts in order of maturity. This ascending order of amount or order of liquidation preferred. وعادة most companies record the current assets and current liability. عادة بيتحطوا ورا بعض عشان تبان العلاقة بين current assets current liabilities.